Welcome back to another episode of She Talks Money, the show where we're redefining wealth one empowered woman at a time. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by wellness advice, confused by what to eat, or frustrated that taking care of your body feels like a full-time job, this episode is for you. Today, we're joined by Taylor Rezac, fitness and nutrition coach, mental wellness advocate, and the relatable voice behind the growing Instagram community at The Daily Taste, T-A-Y-S-T-E. Taylor helps women ditch the extremes, prioritize protein, and create sustainable routines that support their physical and mental health without sacrificing their lives in the process. We're talking high protein meal ideas, navigating the mental load, healing your relationship with your body, and creating habits that feel like you. So if you've been craving a fresh take on fitness, food, and feeling good in your skin, grab your coffee or take us on a walk and let's dive in. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Thank you, Jen. I need that intro on like a card so I can use it to pump myself up going forward.
I will send it to you.
Yeah, you nailed it all. I love it. I'm so excited to be here and chat.
Awesome. Well, let's start with your story. You've built a strong brand around real food, fitness, and feeling good. What sparked your journey into this space?
Yeah, I feel like I am still learning and evolving, but I've always been really into food. I think on the main thing, but growing up, I spent so much time in the kitchen with my family. The women in my family were just super inspiring when it came to cooking. Holidays were such a big deal in my family, almost more so like the menu planning versus like the holiday itself. So I always just got so excited to do that and to partake in that and learn. Everything was always homemade for us. So that really fueled my passion for food. I remember too coming home from school so much, and like whether it's myself or my brother and I, we would park ourselves on the couch and like binge Food Network, and just that would be our after school routine. So I just feel like that became just part of like my life and just fostered so much interest and so much like creativity in me, and like really started to map a path of what maybe this could look like to integrate it in a career or just lifestyle as a whole. So that was always there and just like started to foster. I also grew up very athletic. Both my parents are collegiate athletes, so they, you know, were always just like fostering that within us, like encouraging my brother and I to get involved with sports and just be active. We would go on family bike rides all the time. So I feel like that too has just like the paths kind of like intersected naturally in that way. And then kind of going to college, I knew I wanted to hold that a little bit on the side, but I did pursue a track in like strategic communication. So kind of kept it broad because I was like, I don't know, I kind of want to pull this food, fitness, like passion into like whatever I do, but also, you know, be realistic with it, like entering the job market too. So I just kind of held that to the side, and I did pursue a minor in exercise science. So initially I was like, maybe I can do corporate wellness and like still tie in some of the food and interest in that, creativity and all that. But college was actually where the Daily Taste started. So
oh, really?
Yeah, I started it, I believe it was like junior year of college, just as a platform to kind of share like what I was doing. I had no strategy behind it. It was like not a business plan. I did not think like anything of that. So it was more of, I was cooking in my dorm and cooking for some friends, making little healthy protein bites or whatever that may be. And I'm like, this is kind of fun and I want to place it somewhere. And at that time, you know, almost, oh my gosh, what, like 7-8 years ago, that was where social media was like super new, I feel like. So a lot of like those OG creators you see who have grown to millions of followers now, it's like that's kind of where they were starting. So I took so much interest in them, and I was so inspired by like following some of those people. And I remember like starting my page, I'm like, I would love to do that someday. And like I don't know how I'll get there, but I kind of want to just like put stuff out and see what hits and lands. So I did start with photography, actually. So I just took a lot of pictures of my meals. I always tell people, like, don't go too far back on my page because, like, those pictures are a little rough. It was, like, iPhone 10. I mean, not the best, but we all start somewhere. So that's just kind of where it all started. And just, like, I would say the last probably 3 years is when it really shifted into kind of, like, this could be a business, or like, let's treat this as a business. And, you know, that space of social media started to really explode too. So you really have to like dial into like your authenticity and your niche, and like figuring out what's your why, and like what you want to leave people with after they come to your page or like take a recipe. So
yeah. Well, first, I'm so grateful for people like you, because one of my biggest regrets in life is my mom cooked a ton. Every meal was a homemade meal, and she is like a from scratch, like, what do we have in the fridge and let me throw this meal together kind of a cook. I am a recipe cook. I can cook anything if you put a recipe.
Give me a recipe. Give me directions.
But don't make me like wild and just have to guess on how to do it. I mean, I'm getting better, but I rely so much on people like you and social media and Pinterest for recipes, because I remember being in college calling her like, how do I ground beef and make spaghetti? She's like, how did you grow up in this house? I'm like, I regret so much not cooking with her. But, you know, now that I have a teenage daughter, I totally get it, because that's the last thing that she wants to do with me at home. But
totally. I love that. That's funny.
So you talk about how to clear the noise. What kind of noise are most women dealing with when it comes to nutrition and body image? And how can we begin to quiet it?
That's a great question. And honestly, I feel like it's something that I am still mindful of every day. I can catch myself in those situations where I'm like, whoa, I need to slow down, because I'm starting to like play into a lot of the noise. And just being on social media, there's going to be so much noise. And like a creator too, putting out your life and what you're interested in, like, you just open yourself up to criticism, and you have to be like okay with that too. So that's been a huge shift I've just had to be mindful of. But I think like when it comes to the nutrition and fitness space, like you said, there's so much comparison out there, but we're human, we do it. And I think it's like, as long as you're mindful of it, that's when you can kind of have a healthy balance about it. But when it comes to food, things that I've noticed and I've been in is like, am I eating the right thing? Am I like starting to overthink calories, carbs, protein, like the breakdown in that way? Or like, do I feel guilty if I missed a workout and, you know, something came up life-wise, and shoot, I'm just not able to like wind down as I am supposed to? Or like, oh my gosh, I had one too many drinks, like now I just feel like crap and I'm a failure. It's just starting to like get in those, I don't know, mindsets that ultimately aren't gonna put you where you need to be. So I think like just leaning into more of like giving yourself permission to just like tap into your authentic self. And with like the food space, like don't try to like lean into the restriction of it. That's something I've had to like really work on too, especially growing up in athletics and, you know, dealing with the comparison piece. That's been something that is hard, and it's hard for a lot of us. But I think like focusing on like just simplifying it, trying not to get like, what's this person doing? Like, oh, maybe I should be doing that. Like, is that the right way? Is this? So sticking to simple, like I said, giving yourself permission to just like enjoy life and a lot of the moments that just like come. Obviously, like staying in tune with your own routine and like what works best for you is great. Also with the comparison piece, like what works for one woman might not work for you. So I always like push education, like just educate yourself and then like start to do some test and learning, and then that might help when you come across things, whether it's social media or like talking with other people. You can stay like super supportive and like grounded in what you bring to the table, like what the routines that you've developed, and not getting like too sucked in. It's been a journey though, you know, for me too.
Well, and I like to use the analogy just for myself, like my mantra is like, this is my book and every chapter is different. I remember being at the gym one time, and this girl came up to me, and I've been working out for years. I had back surgery when I was 14 years old. So I have just led a path of like, to avoid pain, I will remain fit like that. It's just been my whole life. And so I was at the gym working out, and she came up to me and she's like, are you training for something? Like, you're so fit. And I just like, I appreciated the admiration, but also like had to be like, this is your path. And I'm like years into this. And then after post-COVID, which I don't know who was prepared for that, right?
None of
and
us.
Having to go from like gym equipment to at home, and then you couldn't get gym equipment by the time we realized like what was happening. When I went back to the gym like 2 years later, I mean, I went from being the fittest I've ever been in my life to then going back to the gym and not being able to even hold weights when I did lunges. And I looked at my trainer, he's like, you're not going to cry. You're just going to start over. And it was so humbling. And then now I have such compassion for people. Like, everybody is in their own place.
Yeah.
And so you don't know where somebody's at. You can't compare yourself to somebody who's been working out for years or, totally dialed into their nutrition. Everybody's on a different spot.
Yes.
So you can admire, you can look up to people, but like you're your own book and you're on your own chapter, and just focus on yourself is what I tell people.
I know. I'm so glad you said that too, because I think like it's called a fitness journey or like a health journey for a reason. Like, it's not one straight shot path. Like, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in it. So giving yourself grace also in that, and like looking at others versus like the comparison piece, like try and learn from them, like learning from the things that you like, because I think that helps like shift mentality a little bit. So
for sure. Well, I am so excited to talk about high protein meals.
Ooh, yes,
right
let's
up my
do
alley.
it.
I need this. So everyone says eat more protein, but what does that really look like on a busy day? Can you kind of walk us through a sample day of realistic protein-packed meals?
Yeah, that's my favorite topic. I do feel like protein is such a huge focus. I don't know, especially in 2025. I have seen on social media like such a push and focus on that. And again, I'm no dietitian. I don't have any like certifications when it comes to this. So like, this is stuff that I have learned on my own and like just like taken from over the years of experience too. So like, I share that just to be mindful of that. But I feel like protein, from like the nutrition standpoint that I've learned, is just like it's such a foundational building block. Like obviously like with muscle mass and building muscle mass, like or muscle mass, and having that is like so important for longevity too. So I think like that's maybe people are starting to like learn and like realize that a little bit more. So with that said, yes, protein is like so important in my life too, especially being like an athlete in training for whatever that may be, if it's like a fun race or just like hitting certain goals upcoming. I build my meals around protein, so which really goes into like meal prepping too. But I would say like my protein staples come down to like a handful of things. Like I love Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. I know we're all on a cottage cheese trend, but that is so versatile to work with. Collagen, bone broth, chicken, salmon, beef, like a couple clean proteins you'll always find in my fridge or pantry. So I always try to build my meals like 30 to 40 grams of protein. As much as you can front load that at the beginning of the day, it's going to be easier to hit your protein goals, if you will.
That's great advice.
One way, I actually did this morning. One way I've really been able to like easy get that like mark right off the bat is do like a cup of bone broth right away and add a scoop of collagen to it. You're starting your day with like 20 or 25 grams of protein, of course, depending on the brand and the bone broth. And it's liquid. It's easy to like get down, and then you haven't even had breakfast yet. So like that sets you up for just like healthy hormones, like more energy, satiation too, like throughout the day too, front loading with protein. So that's been something I've loved. Another thing is like I love to prep my breakfast, again, front loading in the mornings. So I do a lot of like high protein chia puddings, and you can like get creative with
I love those.
It's so good. And like some people aren't with the texture, but I think they're so good. So I love doing like ones with espresso in them. So I like get excited to not only like have breakfast, but also have like a little coffee boost. So, it's like 2 to 4 tablespoons of chia seeds, and then like a cup or a cup and a half of liquid. And then you can kind of add like a protein powder, a nut butter even, or like any other flavorings, and just like shake that up, put it in the fridge, keep it overnight. You got like 1 to 2 breakfasts, whatever that may be. So
love it.
That's something I've loved. Also, stick with me on this one, but it's like a beef and banana breakfast bowl. So
okay, I'm listening.
Okay, and I actually got this info from a fellow creator I follow. I really love how she structures her meal prep, and she inspires me a lot too. So I have loved lately hitting, it's like 45 grams of protein. So like you scramble up a couple eggs, maybe toss in an egg white. Okay. You add like 4 to 5 ounces of ground beef. So you're getting a lot of amino acids in there also. You layer in a little banana, put it all in a bowl. You top it with hot honey and a little bit of cinnamon. I promise you, like, it's such an interesting combo, but it is so good. It's like sweet, salty, satiating, and I don't know. I've been loving that, and like I am full for 4 to 5 hours, and it's just like so well-rounded and like so nutrient dense and healthy. That's been a staple of my high protein
I'm giving that a
routine.
I'm giving that a try, because
Yeah.
one of my favorites is that went viral was the taco sweet potato
The cottage
bowl.
cheese beef bowl.
Yes,
that
which
was on my list too.
It like introduced me to hot honey, and I'm like, where has this been my entire life? Now,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I can't do cottage cheese because I can't do dairy, but even without that, it's amazing. So this is new.
I'll
I'm
write
gonna
it down
try
after this, but
Yeah.
I think I threw it up in my stories a couple days, and like the amount of people were like, girl, what is this?
Yeah.
This is like kind of crazy. I'm like, no, you have to try it. It's so good. And just, again, if you have protein at the forefront, which I believe everyone should, it's like so important. That's just such a great way to hit it.
Awesome. So I think you just gave us a ton of great
I
ideas.
did. I know.
but
I'm like, I could go on and on.
Are there any other favorite go-to meals for women who hate cooking?
Ooh, I would say, like if you can cook once and like eat twice, that's kind of like a good mentality to have. I love to like well, we can probably get into all the meal prep stuff too, but I love to like ingredient prep. So if you just are like, I just don't want to throw together like a huge recipe every night and all that, take an hour or two and just put in, I don't know, maybe like 2 proteins, like batch some chicken, batch some ground beef, like maybe roast a couple sweet potatoes, broccoli, whatever. And you can just like build meals throughout the week.
Mix and match.
I feel like that is like the easiest time saving that I've found. I love Greek bowls, for example. I feel like that's easy to assemble. You don't really have to like cook a lot. You just kind of like chop up some cucumbers, throw some olives on there, maybe it's tomatoes, and then add a source of protein. You can have it over like rice or greens. And like a lot of times there's easy rice packets to grab. Salad kits sometimes, if that's even just an option that you want to like, I don't want to think. Grab a salad kit. You can always swap out for like your own homemade dressing, so you like know what's in it, and then just like add a source of protein and healthy fat if it's not already there. So those are some of the things. That's also, it's like a hard question to answer because I love to cook. I'm just like, I've never been in that space before, but
I love to cook, but I am a super busy mom. My kids are in sports, so most nights, at least during the school year, like we have some type of activity. So people ask me, how do I meal prep? And it's like split. If I have time on Sunday to meal prep, I will, to your point, I'll usually prep at least one thing that I can eat, and I don't mind eating the same thing every day. So I'll eat, I'll have a lunch that I can make, like that taco sweet potato, like 3, sometimes 4 days throughout that week for like lunch. My go-to breakfasts are usually eggs or something I've prepared as well. And then knowing that like maybe Monday, Tuesday nights, if I'm cooking some type of dinner, then any leftovers from that can be later in the week for lunch. You know what I mean? So it can probably be a trickle effect. Otherwise, again, I'm out of town. I have no meal prep ready or time to prep a lot. Rotisserie chicken, salad, put together a super easy dressing yourself, have some veggies. I mean, it's really easy. It's more about taking the time to think about it and organize it a little bit than it is to actually prep the food, right? But you just kind of have to write it down and prepare it. So.
I know. So that's like a good point too, because I feel like when I do meal prep, I do come with a plan, and like plan your grocery runs too. Like that might be a little bit easier to digest to start. Like don't focus on like the end game meal stuff yet, but like structure your grocery list with like, okay, I'm gonna grab like 2 to 3 high protein things, couple complex carbs, filling your cart with fruits and veggies, whole foods, like healthy sources of fats. I eat ingredients, if that makes sense. Like I rarely buy like processed food, so I eat a lot of like whole base foods, and it's just like easy to throw, like I said earlier, things together in a bowl. I think like keeping it fresh and exciting, it comes in like the seasonings, the sauces, other toppings that can like take chicken, rice, and broccoli like 5 different ways. You could go Asian with it, you could go like Mexican inspired with that. So keeping that in mind when you grocery shop is nice.
And don't you think that really trickles through to especially women and like the success you're having throughout the rest of the week? Because I know when I'm prepared, and whether I'm meal prepping or at least I have healthy, good foods to choose from during the week, my week is so much better. I feel good about myself. I'm feeling more confident because I'm feeding myself healthy foods. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we've all been there. I've had days where I just don't have time, and now we're grabbing for the processed stuff or the bad stuff, and it's just, it can have I know now, to me, it has such a negative impact on my, not just physically, but like my mental health, that like it is so worth it, you guys, to just take a little bit of time to put it together, figure it out, have the ingredients at home, and then it
sure.
sets your week up for success.
It does. And like start small too. You don't have to like, okay, what am I meal planning for the whole week, breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Yeah.
Start with maybe breakfast. Like I'm going to commit to prepping like 1 to 2 healthy breakfasts. Maybe I'm going to hard boil like a bunch of eggs and I'll prep like 1 to 2 chia or oat puddings, whatever. And you feel good about accomplishing that goal. And then you also are set up for like, okay, I know I'm going to like kill it in the breakfast department this week. Even just like those simple little shifts do like wonders in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so a lot of women equate exercise with punishment. So how can we shift into a more empowering mindset when it comes to movement?
Great question. I think like for the longest time, I thought like more exercise equals more results. And that is like so not the case. It's just, again, in my experience, I think like people can think of exercise as like, okay, I have to go work out. No, like you get to go move your body. You know, I think remembering our health and like how important and like grateful you can be to sit and be like, I have a moving body. I can like wake up, move my legs, like stretch my arms. That's like, I mean, that's so simple, but like it's something we just bypass a lot. As we go, like we're all busy, we go about our routines and stuff, and we forget about that and like how probably millions of people might not even be in that situation to do that. So that's been a shift, and I encourage like all women, men, everybody to just like you get to versus like, you have to. So that's like really important. Also just like finding what excites you about like movement. For me, growing up, like I loved dance. I was a dancer growing up. So I remember when I first started like getting into fitness, I like took a lot of Zumba classes. So like I didn't equate that as, oh my gosh, I have to like go to this workout and I'm dreading it. I was like excited to go because it like resonated with the dance background that I had. So finding ways, even if it's like pickleball, golf, like anything that you already have an interest in, that's going to be easier to then like approach it as like, no, I'm like getting some exercise and burning some calories and feeling good, taking care of my physical health if you already have a little bit of like interest. So not going straight to, all right, I'm gonna be in the gym for like 2-3 hours, I gotta lift weights, gotta do my cardio piece. Group classes are great with that too. So like taking a couple classes, testing out what might be fun, grab a friend or two and go with. I think that really helps the mentality behind exercise.
I think the mindset shift for me too, if I'm having, you know, I wake up, I didn't sleep well, and I'm like, oh, I got to work out. I tell people like the physical benefits of me working out and, you know, how my body looks is like the side benefit for me. Like working out is like my mental health, right? And so when I think about that and I'm starting out my day rough, I'm like, I'm going to push through this workout because I know that mentally I'm going to feel better the rest of the day if I do. And I think instead of having an expectation of like what you expect from your body from a workout, like no matter what, like you're mentally going to feel way better. Then it shifts like this expectation of like a certain amount of pounds lost or like muscle built or whatever into just like, I'm going to be a better person today because I put some stuff into me, myself, you know what I mean? So
right, like if we're not our best selves, it's hard to pour into others. And that's been like a shift of mine too. And it's like, again, it's simple, but it's like so powerful, and like you really feel that too. Also just approaching exercise with like, I'm gonna move my body versus like I'm working out. That's even just something to consider. Go on a walk. Even if it's like 5 to 10 minutes, get some steps and start with like a goal that way. But there's so many ways you can approach it, just finding what works for you.
So what is your personal fitness routine like right now, and how has it evolved over the years?
Right now I'm actually training for my first High Rocks race. I don't know if you're familiar with High Rocks.
I've never heard of that, no.
So I'm still learning about it, but it's like I discovered it because it's like aligns with just how I've trained probably for the last like couple years. It's like hybrid style, definitely like on the higher intensity, but like again, my body works great on that. I've always just been like more of a high intensity type workout person. I love to like sweat and grind in that way, but it is basically like a kilometer run banked in between like a bunch of functional movement stations. So you like run a kilometer, so it's like 0.62 miles. Then you might go to like a sled push station and like push a certain amount of weight for X amount of time. and then you'll go back to your run, and then you'll come back to like your next station, which might be like sandbag lunges, like I don't know, 100 meters back and forth. So it's like functional training. It's like a huge thing. I've like loved it. But with that, I've actually had to focus on more strength training, which has been challenging, like shift wise, because again, another myth I think women can think is like strength training makes me bulky.
Right.
And we have to eat a lot of food for that to be a reality.
Yeah.
So like focusing on strength training. So I usually do like 2 to 3 days a week are like very much lower intensity on the cardio piece, but like strength training and sculpting and like progressive overload.
Yeah.
That's been fun because it's new for me and that's evolved. And then I do love to still bank in some like low intensity cardio with like, or just more like bar style or Pilates. I think like that's just good for like flexibility too. Coming from a dance background, I just like to maintain that. So I love doing that, but I would say recently it's just a lot more strength and like definitely like running and cardio, again, just because I'm ready for High Rocks. But it's just been kind of how I have trained the last like few years. I think that like I definitely was more cardio focused at one point and like didn't quite see like the definition or the leanness I wanted as far as like muscle mass when I was more focused on cardio. And that's like a shift I had to make. So I was like, oh, that was opposite from what I thought. But yeah, strength training is so great. And it's just like, makes you feel good.
Yeah. I feel strong.
Yeah,
I love strength training.
And strong is sexy, honestly.
It totally is sexy. I love strength training. But the beautiful thing about working out is like you can change it up. Our bodies love change, right? So I'm usually like a 6 to 8 week, like I follow a program and then I switch it up completely and do something a little bit different so that my body doesn't get too used to something. I'm completely changing up and it keeps it, new and exciting and fun.
For sure.
I have to check out what you're doing though. That sounds cool. Although the running part, I'm like, oh.
I know. It's not for everyone, but like it's a good challenge too. And like that's what keeps fitness exciting is like setting goals for yourself, whatever that may be. If you want to do a fun race, totally do it. If you want to like grab a few friends and try a new class, like lean into group fitness. So it is, to your point, it's just like keeping it fresh, keeping it exciting. It's always evolving.
Yeah, love that. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, you talk a lot about mental health and manifestation. How do those concepts fit into your approach to wellness?
Yeah, that's actually been a recent shift of mine. For a lot of my life, I think I internalized a lot of things. I have fell into some like self-sabotaging behaviors just like over the years, just like with like the person I want to be, whether that's like career, relationships, friendships, whatever that may be. So I recently just like hit that point of like wanting to make some like internal changes, and I think that does come with starting with mindset and manifestation. It was something I've of course heard of, but it was never something I like leaned into or maybe fully believed, but it is like science fact based, like we have the absolute power to like rewire our mind and our subconscious. And I think like for me, that's been like tapping into my authenticity. I think like if I wipe everything else that is in my life, like who am I at the end of the day, and like what excites me, and like what do I want to bring energy wise to the world. And like once you are subconsciously aligned with that, that's when like real, I feel, shifts can start to happen.
Oh, I love that.
So I think that I've just like you gotta like wake up every day and like have some type of structure to like think this way. Otherwise like it's just gonna drift. So like, I have just like started to commit to structuring my mornings more intentional, getting in the right mindset, and what you focus on becomes your reality. Yeah. So I think that like I've shared a little bit more about that on my page, but it's been a huge part of just like my personal life and just getting to the place like I am now. So I think that it's something everybody should look into. There's so many books, resources, podcasts of it. Yeah. Everyone kind of has their own like definition of it, but ultimately like just your thoughts and beliefs like have to align, and like once they come in alignment, you really have the power to like change your life.
I love that. So what role does self-compassion play in building a healthy lifestyle? Like how do you bounce back from an off week?
I think that you have to kind of like have a really deep connection of self-trust too. Like if you trust your path and like know so clear what your like non-negotiables are, whether that's like how you take care of yourself or just like grounding back to those essentials. I think like when you get thrown off by routine or if you're on a trip, like we all are in those situations.
Oh yeah.
Not getting so down on yourself because you know that like for me, like I love living a 90-10 lifestyle. So that 10% is like always in the back of my head of like, I want to just embrace and like enjoy life, not be thinking about my routine always. And because it's going to take away from like the present moment of those special times. So I think like just giving yourself grace, being mindful of it, remembering that like your non-negotiables are like always going to be there, and bouncing back by just like not going extreme, but just like, okay, we're going to have a great weekend. Like, let's take maybe, I don't know, half hour on Sunday night and like reset of like how we want our week to look like. I think that's super powerful, like writing, journaling, getting any like potential negative self-talk out there and on paper. Then you can kind of start to look back on it and like rewrite those thought patterns and like rewire them, especially coming off of like maybe I didn't have like my ideal time this last couple days. So
and anybody listening to this podcast that has listened to previous episodes, we talk about this same thing with regard to money and debt, like having that little money date every Sunday and resetting. We all have our off days or weeks or something happens, like reset, give yourself some compassion,
for sure,
start again. So that's amazing. How can women tell the difference between healthy discipline and unhealthy obsession?
I think what comes to mind is like, does it start to bleed into that, like for me, the 10%, right?
That makes sense.
So like, and there's no right or wrong way to like approach how you want to balance, right? Like I feel my best when I'm like, okay, maybe like 85-15 or like 90-10 as far as like structured versus I'm gonna go have a glass of wine or like a spicy marg because I love those things and it brings connection and joy. But when I start to think or feel that it's like my routine or like how I think of structure is like bleeding into the moments when I'm with friends or if I'm out to dinner and like starting to be like, I wonder how many, like, how this fits into kind of like whether that's your macros or just your normal eating routine. I think that's when you kind of really maybe should take a pause and like reset and just, again, comes back to give yourself grace. But healthy boundaries are great. I think like once you establish them, you kind of know how to like put yourself like then you kind of know how to like plan the rest of your weeks or days or like when you want to have some social time, still like fueling that happy side of you too. But I'm like such a believer too is like how we spend our days is how we spend our lives.
I love
and
that.
I think that that can be really beautiful in your routine, like having habits that ultimately bring you to the best version of you, but making room and space for connection and joy and memories that we can't take with us like at the end of the day. So I think that keeping that top of mind.
And what are your favorite non-food, non-fitness habits that support a healthy lifestyle?
Oh, okay. So out of my wheelhouse. No, I'm just kidding. I love morning routines and night routines. I think that journaling has been huge for me lately. Like running anxious a little bit has been helpful getting things on paper. So like I've always been in therapy just for years. I'm a huge advocate of that too, but like being my own little therapist too, like with journaling, that's been so great. Leaning into a lot of books, fueling like your mind outside of like the food and the fitness space. I think is really important with our health. So like I've been diving into a lot of books. I love podcasts. But I would say like the journaling piece and just kind of like getting off of like screens or any other type of like stimulations in the mornings and evenings, even if it's like 15 minutes, really are some of my favorite things that I've like leaned into lately.
Okay, we're gonna do a lightning round.
Okay.
Quick question.
Bead of sweat running down my face.
I love these. Okay, we talked about so many high protein. What is your favorite high protein snack?
I love yogurt bowls, like honestly.
Okay.
A yogurt bowl with a scoop of protein in it. I forgot about that piece. So like that just boosts the protein, then you add a little bit of like frozen berries. It's like a dessert.
Okay. must have in your fridge?
I would say eggs, honestly.
Yeah,
That's probably
mine
not
too.
like the most appealing answer, but like it really is.
I eat eggs every day, so that's mine too. Go-to mindset book or podcast?
I am currently fixated on Joe Dispenza's Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
I have that. I got to pick
So
that up.
good.
Awesome. What's your coffee order?
Such a boring girly, but I really just love like a black coffee. Otherwise, if I do want to switch it up, I'll do like an iced Americano with like a splash of almond milk, a little bit of cinnamon and honey.
Okay, love it. A mantra you're living by right now?
Continuing to plant seeds. And I have a whole like analogy of like gardening on this too. It's just like, but like you think of like what farmer showed up to like their field the next day and be like, oh, dang it, it didn't work. Like it's a journey. So like continuing to put in the effort, continuing to plant seeds, and then you'll like reap a beautiful harvest in the future.
So good. What's one truth about health or success you wish more women knew?
I would say like consistency over perfection. I think that, you know, if you put in like small habits, they're just going to start stacking, and no good thing comes with it doesn't happen quickly. I think it all just like comes with time and consistency, showing up each day.
Awesome. Where can listeners connect with you, and what resources do you have that can support them right now?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at The Daily Taste, Tayste, a little play in my name. And I have a link in my bio with a couple of other resources through my Comey page. You can find a free summer recipe little guide. It's like a 3-part fun recipes. The videos are on my Instagram, but the recipes can only be found in that download. And I'm always open in DMs and just like responding to any and everything. I love to chat. So
this was amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. This is so fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I could go on and on, so hopefully I wasn't too scattered.
No, we could sit here all day, I can tell already, and I know everybody's going to love you as much as I already do. So I feel like we could have talked for hours.
Yes.
From realistic protein-packed meals to building healthier mindsets around our bodies and food, this conversation was full of gold. And the best part is you don't have to overhaul your life. You just need a few grounded, supportive habits that work for you. If this episode resonated with you, do us a favor, share it with a friend who needs it, and tag us on Instagram. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to She Talks Money so you never miss an episode. And until next time, take care of your body, trust your intuition, and remember, success is self-defined.